Top Trader is brought to you by Sanlam iTrade and powered by Perisys, now with a new Iris trading platform.
This is a competition like no other. We brought together 8 aspiring traders from across South Africa to compete against each other in order to become part of the trading floor elite. Week after week, the contestants will face various challenges, including building a share portfolio that will outperform the rest. As the pressure rises, some will stumble, some will fall, while only one will rise to ultimately become South Africa's very first top trader. At the end of last week, Gary was in the lead and Jared was in 7th place. Hello contestants, welcome to the CNBC Africa boardroom. It's now time for your 3rd workshop session, and today we've got our guest mentor Warwick Seltzer from World Skills joining us. Now Warwick is a technical commentator here on CNBC Africa, and for the next hour and a half he's going to be delving into the mysteries of technical analysis and hopefully equipping you with the right skills for today's challenge.
Generally speaking, fundamentals is looking at company structure, company capital, company use of assets, etc., and possibly the sector and the industry from that ground up. Versus technical analysis should be looking the other way around. Basically look from the global point perspective downwards, but basically paying much more attention to what's happening with price action. Divergence and trend lines are particularly important, okay? They're extremely useful, especially trend lines. The reason why charts don't lie, you have something that is repetitive because pretty much the market's made up of herds, okay? You've got to decide which herd you want to be in. Elephants could be the guys that are talking more fundamentals. Cheetahs are going to be the guys that are day trading, swing trading, that kind of thing. So how do you use this? Well, essentially, you want to know when something's overbought, generally in terms of momentum, when something's oversold, in terms of when to get out. All right. And how do we do that? Well, generally we use a level of 30 as oversold and a level of about 80 at overbought. Okay, so you should be able to put in a line on your charting software that visually looks something like that. And obviously at this sort of level, that would have been a buy if you use this as a trigger to get in. And more or less when it crosses close to the 80, that could have been a sell. There again, a buy. Definitely there would have been a sell. 1, 2, 3. What's that called? Triple bottom, eh? That's a triple bottom. That's a chart pattern. Okay, that's psychology. If ever you wanted an example of what I was talking about just now, about herd. Okay, the chart hit this point here. How much was that? $96. Hit it, bounced. Look where it stopped. Remember we were talking about moving averages, exponential moving averages acting as resistance. In fact, I talked about it more as support. In this case, it acted as resistance. Down we go. And every time it kept hitting it. Broke it, closed below it. Support. 106 or 96. Okay, breaks out again, test the 50 EMA. Pulls back, right back down to 96 support. Okay, unfortunately ideally that should have been a hammer, right? But unfortunately, because there's so much indecision in the market, and let's face it, gold's been extremely volatile, right? And that's a given candle pattern as to how volatile it is, because that pretty much is a spinning top. We go from the high there to the low there using Fibonacci. Okay, and interestingly enough, look at that at the far left over there. Do you see why that support was so important? History repeats itself, okay? And we all have a herd mentality, okay? It's all about trading psychology and market psychology.
That right there is market psychology. It hit 96 before and bounced. We hit 96 before 3 times there in a row, literally within a couple of weeks, and what happened? Bounced, okay? I know it's a lot of stuff to absorb, okay? Like I say, it's normally a 4-day scenario, okay? But hopefully you've got lots of stuff to chew on, eh?
So, how is everyone feeling? You look exhausted.
And now it's time for a spot test.
The first challenge is a day trading challenge. You have to pick one stock based on technical analysis, and we're going to monitor the performance of that stock from 3 o'clock today until 3 o'clock tomorrow. The second challenge, based on what you've learned today, based on the reasons that you chose the stock, you have to write a report.
Time is now more valuable than any other commodity in the contestants' portfolio. By winning the first challenge, Jared has laid down the gauntlet.
At the moment I get the feeling that Jared's doing quite well, but he's not letting on that he is.
Promises is also looking quite promising.
The last time the contestants played in a challenge, the reward was permission to reverse a bad trade within their portfolio. Motivation to perform well in the next challenge had reached peak levels.
I went with Mr. Price based on one of the most simple technical analysis graphs that he had showed us, the price relative graph.
I picked Mr. Price. It's been trending pretty well. I mean, I used the Bollinger Band. We didn't really discuss the Bollinger Band in the presentation, but that's one tool that I've been using for quite a while.
I chose Peregrine. I can't really explain why without having pictures in front of me, but it's unfortunate that happened to be the winning choice for Jared last time.
Market's falling heavily today. Didn't really know what I was going to pick for the challenge. I don't see myself winning or losing tomorrow. It was kind of a safe bet because I have a weird feeling that it could be an elimination.
If they're kicking out someone for the day challenge, then I could go home with a great portfolio. Hopefully Bidvest has a beautiful day. People go out and buy bakery supplies.
I chose PSG, and for the moving averages and the correlation, the PS just seemed to work. There's a high probability that it's going to continue an upward trend.
I picked the share that I thought had the most technical bias towards trending up. I just used 3 or 4 indicators that sort of hinted for some strength in the share, and this time tomorrow we'll see how it went. I picked Steinhoff.
I was leaning more towards Renet. Renet wasn't a bad pick. It's actually a good pick. It's more safe. I think we'll have to see what happens tomorrow.
With hardly a minute to spare, contestants had to sink their teeth into the second leg of their challenge. Contestants still had to grapple with the concepts of technical analysis.
Average of the moving average line here, and the 2 lines, the 12 and 26, are moving average lines of the actual graph.
I know what you're talking about.
And had to present a report to a man with a fine tooth comb.
Lower
Can I stop you there? How did you determine that it was in a downtrend? What technical indicators did you use?
What made you decide to change your mind?
But first, the contestants get feedback from Nerina, Visser and Ashraf Mohammed on their trading since the last episode.
When we last met, I was down about 5,000 or 6,000 rand, and I was concerned. I was worried I was going home.
What sort of techniques do you use to actually choose what you're going to be trading on a particular day?
Absolutely. Prices, prices, prices. Out of the 166 all-share stocks that we can trade, I've traded about 37. I'd say about 15 to 20 I'm looking at daily. And I've actually learned their prices. When you're up 25%, you feel like the world's at your feet. Any trade you do will work. And that's not the reality. In the beginning of this competition, I got hit very hard. And that gave me a huge wake-up call. The only criticism was that I wasn't updating them with my strategy. May that be the worst criticism I get.
Stephen was very nervous before his meeting with the mentors, and he had all the reason to be.
Not looking forward to this.
Hi, Stephen. Do you feel like you're coming to the headmaster's office?
I know I've misbehaved, that's for sure.
Well, why didn't you do your homework? Then you wouldn't have been in the headmaster's office.
Don't really have excuses, it was just, yeah. They even whipped out the, do you still want to be here kind of question. Classic reality TV move.
Do you actually want to be here?
I do. Well, I'm not going to make excuses, but my strategy was complex and probably not a very good one now that I've learned all this stuff from work.
When one looks at your performance, you just have not applied yourself. And when we look at the assessments of the stocks you've picked, etc.,
then that shows your lack of interest. Do you think you're going to survive the next elimination round?
Phew, do I think I'm going to survive? I hope so.
Jared had a horrible start, but has made a significant turnaround over the last few weeks.
I think I maximised my performance. Intraday trading, I averaged 2,000 a day, and I don't think I can beat that.
Yeah, it's been quite a turnaround for you. Hey?
Yeah.
So what do you think has worked so well for you? What are you going to continue doing? What are you going to stop doing?
Well, the strategy is completely changed. I went from using a strategy that I use in my real portfolio, which is medium to long term, to going to intraday.
Yes.
The markets are completely going nowhere, and you have no idea whether they're going up or down when they open. So intraday is the only way to go at the moment.
Absolutely.
And you're making the right calls.
So far, yeah.
Overall, you've invested in about 27 of the 162 shares. Do you think you'll be expanding your universe in terms of what you watch or where you look for opportunities? What made you choose these particular counters that you're looking at?
The illiquid shares that I've seen recently have been jumping, because there's lots of illiquid shares that are sitting there but not jumping. When it comes to intraday trading, basically, I'm not looking at the story at all of the companies anymore. I'm looking purely at the prices. I look at 9 o'clock, I look and I see the markets open down. This company's a strong company, everyone's been punting it, but it's fallen with the markets, and that's when I jump in. So it's down 5%, I get in there, it closes 1% down, but I've made 4%.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good strategy, definitely.
They were pretty friendly, especially compared to last time. I've had a big improvement since last time, so I was expecting them to be way more chilled with me. So I'm trading around about 110,000 a day. I normally go big volume into shares, so I go 3 shares at 40,000, 40,000 and 30,000.
I was slightly nervous.
Any change in your strategy since the last time that
There
we
has
saw
been
you?
a little, yeah. I've held more overnight positions now, purely just because day trading is becoming harder the way this portfolio is run, as we're only getting matched 3 times a day. So I'm finding that in the markets now, a lot of positions are turning, with my strategy, my day trading strategy, a lot of positions are turning quicker before my trades are getting matched by the market maker. So I'm trying to sort of trade over longer periods. My strategy before this competition was, buying and maybe I was selling maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes later, whereas the structure of this competition means that you need to hold for a longer period of time than that, which is something I need to adjust to.
Did you tell Jared to buy him Villa, or did he tell you to buy him Villa?
I didn't actually speak to Jared. Yeah, that was a crazy trade.
Coincidence.
That was a crazy trade. It happened. I could have actually made more because I just missed actually the bigger portion, traded at 268, and I think I got it 303 and 310. And I wasn't holding anything for dividends, which I've also started doing recently.
Wanted to ask you about that also.
Yeah.
So that was a conscious decision.
Yes.
And how do you feel that that's been working out for you?
It's worked out fine. Out of the Vodacom, I should have still held on to, but I got a nice price. I was never in a loss actually on the trade, so I should have really held on to it.
But you've got an exit discipline, don't you?
I do, but I haven't relaxed it. But I've found that often I've cut things a bit early.
Yeah, but be careful.
Yeah, no.
Be careful about relaxing it, because then you start setting yourself up for failure.
Saheer's portfolio has had more downs than ups.
I'm down on Capitec quite a bit, but I know they're releasing results in the next, or a trading statement in the next 6 weeks, which should be good. Barlow World is another one that I'm down on. But in terms of paper losses, I'm sitting with quite a few paper losses across the board. But Imperial, the last time I came through, I think I was 10% down on Imperial, but I knew it was a solid stock. I hung on to it and I managed to make a profit. So generally, although I've got paper losses, I think all my stocks are safe except Telkom. Telkom is a concern. I think I'm about 18% down on that.
Tell me, why is it that you haven't taken advantage of the volatility? Why have you been hesitant?
It's not that I'm totally risk averse, but I'm not at risk taking at the moment, and not taking as much advantage of the volatility as I mean,
if you look at a stock like Anglo's, goes down 10% in 1 week. Is that not a great buy?
I do also trade those, but I think I'm not going with enough cash at a time. I go in with 5 to 10,000, but I mean, I have bought and sold exactly as you say, Anglo, BHP. Definitely in the next month or two, I need to become more risk taking in order to be more competitive.
So you think you're still going to be around in the next month or two?
It depends what elimination is based on. I mean, if it's based on our portfolio, but in terms of profits that I've banked, I think I have outperformed the JSE over the 3 months.
I hate to break it to you, but you haven't outperformed the ALSI. As a matter of fact, you've outperformed the ALSI overall, but you haven't outperformed the equally weighted ALSI.
Oliver Tawson's strategy to have a diversified portfolio wasn't working as she had planned.
I didn't want to concentrate too much. In the past, I would buy like 10% in a particular stock, and if it goes like 2%, I lose like about a large amount of money. So I rather went like 5,000, like 5% in each stock, and I wanted to diversify and go into different industry. So yeah, that was my strategy.
Was that your strategy?
Yes.
But it hasn't really worked for you, has it?
It's okay.
It's okay.
Yes.
Okay. What is okay to you?
I'm not making a huge significant loss, and I'm trying to find my fit, so I think it's a good learning step.
Yeah. But you do realize time is against you.
I do.
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great actually. Looking forward to it.
Koitse's portfolio has remained stagnant with not much movement, even after the mentors told him to be more of a risk taker.
Are you worried about making losses?
No, the losses don't worry me. It's just that my strategy has always been throughout, previously, coming from a forex background, was that take those small profits as you move along, and those small profits accumulate at the end of the week and at the end of the month. Whereas I'm finding it it's interesting, when it comes to equities, that those profits are minute, and that there's no leverage. So you're sitting there and you've got a 300-400 rand profit on the day, which isn't necessarily enough to make you a player.
Exactly.
So I think I understand and I agree with you that I need to rehash that.
Yeah, I understand a 5% move in the forex market is it's a 6-month move for the euro dollar.
Yeah.
But the reality is that the 5% move happens in 3-4 days in the equities market, and you have to trust yourself to play that position.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot that I think that you're doing really well. I like the number of trades that you're doing. You're one of the most frequent traders in terms of entering new positions, but I think that you just close them out way too soon. So maybe trust yourself a little bit more and allow yourself to actually run with those stocks, seeing that you are a momentum player. Stick with the momentum. Don't get off the bus as soon as it starts moving. Otherwise, you're never going to get to the destination.
With Vodacom, I learned that despite the fact that we all knew that the Vodacom numbers were going to be good, and in fact they were good, but the price still went down because people didn't want Vodacom. Like, people weren't willing to pay that much for Vodacom. So I got hit hard with the slide, and I should have corrected it with buying at the bottom, and because it would have, my strategy right now is to, if I get burnt pretty hard, I'm going to try hold and see how much
Just
of the
stop there. How would you know where the bottom is?
I look at the resistance line, and it's also within a stop loss. I mean, as long as it's within my stop loss, and it
I mean, Simon gave you the rule, 2% progressive stop loss. If you'd done what he said and you'd bought it 10% lower, you'd have ended up making money. So, yeah. No, I mean, the saying in the markets is bulls make money, bears make money.
Pigs just get slaughtered.
That's it. And you need to remember it, because it's going to be with you for the rest of your life, if this is what you want to do. Because your performance is great, and it would have been the top performance had you not taken the Vodacom hit.
After the break, whose stock tops in the 24-hour challenge? Who will reign supreme in technical analysis?